Okay. Hello, and welcome back to Final Fantasy V Super Famicom Original, fan translated, since it was never brought to America. Blah blah blah. As I've mentioned many times already through this playthrough, we here in the West didn't get this game until the PS1 version, alongside Final Fantasy VI, this Final Fantasy anthology. Then later, the Game Boy Advance remake, and most recently the Pixel Remaster, which is, other than this playthrough right now, usually the version of the game that if I'm playing the game, it's that remake, Pixel Remaster. But anyways, did a lot, like I mentioned before, did a lot of level grinding, but stupid me forgot to save my game afterwards, so 3 hours worth of grinding, gone in an instant. So luckily I had this save file from a previous playthrough years ago. So experience levels, money, and all that other stuff is going to be highly different since the end of the last video, because I'm continuing from a different playthrough. Yeah. Level 6 and white. Got up to level 3 or higher in all of the magic varieties: white magic, black magic, red magic, blue magic, summoner, or caller as they call it in this version of the game. The summoner basically put, Final Fantasy X, stay away from the summoner. One of the more remembered parts of that game, along with Tidus' laugh. Anyways, okay, that's not a secret passageway. Okay. And that's what I'm talking about. Random battles. Easy. Given how many of them there are in any, especially the old, for even some of the newer RPGs. Why make each and every random battle more difficult than it needs to be? At least that's the way I look at it. Disagree if you will. But like I said in my conversation video earlier today, that mentality comes with a sort of trade-off, is because I'm already at level 51 this early in the game. Boss battles are probably going to be a little more easier than they should be as well. Oh well. Price I'm willing to pay, so to speak, for lack of better terminology there. If the numerous amount of random battles can somehow be made easier, I'll take it. I'm okay with that. I mean, I like it, I like it when boss battles can still be difficult no matter what level you're at. But then again, not necessarily, because that too depends on something I was talking about in the tutorial or conversation video earlier. Why is it difficult? Is it difficult because of spamming status ailments, like the infamous Dora in Gray and Dragon Quest XI? Difficult for all the wrong reasons? Gold what? Gold armor. Okay. Is that any better than what? Three points better. Why not? Does it have any kind of special effect, like reduce damage or complete immunity, do anything like ribbons or something like that do? Well, they don't mention it in this, but yeah. Of course, ribbons historically, I mean, in the first Final Fantasy game, it was just half damage on like ice, fire, and lightning attacks, which was still useful, but not as useful as ribbons in like Final Fantasy VII per se, where it was complete immunity to most of the status elements except for instant death. So yeah, ribbons in Final Fantasy VII were much more useful in my opinion, but yeah, they don't mention it in this game. Oh yeah, magic defense, of course. Magic defense is bugged in a lot of early RPGs, even up to and including the original version of Final Fantasy VII. I mean, I think they fixed that in later remasters and later ports, but if you're actually playing the PS1 original, yeah, even as of 1997, magic defense was bugged and didn't matter. So I'd imagine it still was in this game. Yeah. Anyways. Now, where is that passage? One of these job classes has an ability that shows the secret passageways, but A, I don't remember which one that is, and B, I don't really want to change jobs. Well, I don't necessarily have to change job classes, just I might not have a choice here, as I don't remember where the passage was here. Oh, okay, never mind. Now, normally, I'd be a lot right there with people who call that what I just did cryptic. How are you supposed to know to do that? But keeping in mind, like I just pointed out earlier, one of the job classes, one of the abilities through them shows secret passages like that there. So, if you have that equipped, there is a way to see that. I just, for me, it's because I don't have that specific ability equipped. If I even learned it at all yet, since I haven't touched, like Thief job class and Ninja job class. Haven't even leveled them up one bit, so I'm not even sure I have that ability. Let alone have it equipped, if I do have it. Okay. As always, this is not going to be a 100% playthrough of some of these chests, like that one there. Yeah. Probably just a few golds or some item that I already have or don't need. So yeah. Here, if I remember right, this way. I think. Oh, since this one's right along the path. High potion. Okay, well. So, which I think it's through the... To get to the end boss here, I mean, path branches off into two different directions. One leads to a treasure chest or two, and one path leads to the end boss. So that's like I just said, I have no intentions of 100%ing this. I'm just going right to the end boss. That being the case, I think it's this way. I think. Watch, I end up going this way and I end up being wrong. The stairway was the path to the boss, and this leads to... One surprised me a bit. Oops, I went the wrong way. Surprise, surprise. No, not really. Just me being me. Okay, watch out for that. Fall back down the floor or two. But at least that there is visible, by the way, if I might add. At least that pit straight ahead of me is visible. Unlike a lot of those pits in Dragon Warrior 2, Dragon Quest 2, and the Road to Rhone, as it was once called in the NES original, or whatever they call it in the more recent remakes, littered with pitfalls that you don't see until you're falling through them, and by then too late, you're already falling through them. Or the Cave of the Necrogond, as they called it in the original Dragon Warrior 3 NES. So many of those pitfalls that you don't see until you're falling through them, and by then too late, you're already falling through them. At least here you see that. I mean, I like both games, don't get me wrong, it's just that part of them. It's like, hey, no way. Now I gotta work my way back up there fighting another dozen or so random battles along the way, and screw you, game. By the way, why are we being attacked by tombstones? I mean, I made a big, well, attempted joke about that when I played through Portrait of Ruin and the tombstones in that game. Comparing it to the scene in Wizard of Oz where Dorothy picks an apple from the tree and the tree slaps her. How would you like to have someone come along and pick something off of you? To which I made the reference, oh, it's a tombstone. What's its gripe? How would you like to have someone carve something? Yeah. That joke was probably never really that funny, even when I was playing through Portrait of Ruin. But even if it was then, like a lot of comedy, even from the most gifted comedians, the more you hear the joke, the less funny it becomes. Like, ha ha, I heard that already. Har har har. Yeah. At least that's the way it is for me. Watching Jeff Dunham or Robin Williams when he was still alive. Laugh your ass off at some of those jokes the first time you hear them. Gets a little less funny with each replay. Like, oh, come on. Oh, yeah, okay. Ha ha ha. Hardy har har. Yuck, yuck, yuck. All right, now. I do think I want to go up this way for a save room, if I'm remembering correctly. Personally, now that I think about it, I'm a little disgusted at myself that I don't remember this dungeon all that well. I mean, I just literally, not more than 3-4 weeks ago, just played through the aforementioned Pixel Remaster. It hasn't been that long since I've played through this dungeon on that version of the game. I think I'd remember this place a little more than I do. I think this leads to a save, or was it the other way around? Okay. I know there's a save room around here somewhere. Okay, that's not it. That's going to lead right to the boss. Okay, well, it's not a save room. It's a save point right over there to the left. But how is it you get... Again, kind of disgusted at myself for not remembering this. It hasn't been that long since I've played through this. Okay, there we go. I mean, again, probably not going to have to worry about it, but being that I'm already at level 51 with, everybody having the strongest weapon up to this point in the game, dual wheel or two-handed ability doubling their attack power. Yeah. this boss is probably going to be another one of those cases where, because of how over leveled I am, the boss battle as well is going to be as easy as the random battles have been. But just in case the game throws you a curveball, so to speak, and the boss battle actually lives up to boss reputation, or however you want to put that, and actually still is difficult regardless of my levels, be ready for that, just in case. Save my game before I go any further with this. Not that way. Yeah, that's just going back. What am I doing? That's the way I came. That's just going back the way I came. That'd be the way to go if I wanted to get back out of here. Since I don't have the exit spell yet. Shoot, speaking of that, that reminds me. It is where I do get to the point in the game where you do have that. Okay, he's already at. Okay, good. It looks like everybody's already up to time magic level 5. So I think exit or teleport or whatever they call it in this version of the game. I think that's a level 5. Okay, here we go. One more random battle for old time's sake, I guess. Oh, look who's up here. All right. Okay. What? Why? I suddenly don't trust this guy. Oh, you little... Take that. Ooh. Do we have any more of those 3,100 damage hits? Miss! How do you miss a target that big? I suppose it's moving around a lot, even though the graphics don't show that. Limitations of early consoles and whatnot. I mean, I'm sure it's not just sitting there letting you hit it, even though it appears to be doing so graphically. Yep, 'tis as I was thinking. Because of how over-leveled I am, even boss battles are easier than they should be. Oh well, again, the trade-off that I'm willing to accept for the ability to breeze through the numerous random battles. Uh-oh, here we go again. Well, it's still in one piece. But for how long? I mean, you could maybe say that's a spoiler, but at this point, we've already seen it happen, what, 3 times? It may have been intact when we first arrived there. But at some point shortly thereafter, I mean, we haven't exactly had a perfect track record of actually defending these things. What? Okay, now what's going on? Oh, of course, another meteorite. Why not? Hey, it's the kid from one of those earlier cutscenes. Gallif's granddaughter. Yep. Well, other than the ages-old video game trope of amnesia, which he now shreds or now recovers from, and how convenient. He recovers from his amnesia and gets his memory back just in time for what's about to happen. How very convenient. Indeed. Oh, yeah. He's fine. It was only a weak lightning bolt. Yeah, okay. Video game logic. Yep. And again, I'm glad she has a more reasonable name in this version of the game, not like the Sony PS1 Final Fantasy Anthology version where her real name was Salsa. Yep. Of course, Strike 3, we're out. I mean, I would say Strike 4, but the first one, the Wind Crystal, was shattered before we even got there, so that one don't count for that regard. But the other 3, beyond that, Strike 3, you're out. Uh-oh. Guess what? Exdeath. I mean, I suppose it's a little better than Chaos, the stark generic name of the final villain in the first Final Fantasy game, or decades later, the 3DS action RPG-esque game Ever Oasis. But still, even so, Exdeath. Megadeth? No. And yes, by the way, if by me saying that this is the final villain of the game is a spoiler, have you not been watching this series from the beginning? Besides that, how many video games have you played? I mean, I don't want to sound like a jerk here, but seriously, if you've played enough video games by now, you kind of get the idea when a character is built up like this, such a dramatic entrance so late into the game, 9 times out of 10, he's going to be the main antagonist villain of the game. He or she, whatever the gender case may be. Yeah. Okay? You can bet that wasn't in the NES. Well, this wasn't on Super Nintendo, but if it was, you can bet that word would have been censored. Oh, crap! By the way, I said NES. Oops, my bad. This would have been Super Nintendo, not NES. Even if it had been brought to America at the time, it would have been Super Nintendo, not NES. Goes without a fight, huh? Well, to be fair, that's probably a good thing right now, because we're by no means ready to fight him. But you think about this for a second. From a villain standpoint, that's kind of a blunder on his part. You'd think he would have finished us off now. I mean, he is supposed to be the villain. Heartless, well, maybe not heartless, but evil to the core kind of thing. You'd think he'd finish us off now, before we had a chance to get strong enough to... All too common villain error. All too common villain mistake. What are you doing? Dude, what are you trying to do? Won't follow you where? You're not going anywhere. Okay, now you are. What? Okay. Early attempt at trying to, the traumatic or tragic death sequence. Not quite as, not quite as powerful, or whatever terminology you want to use there, as it would be for, like, well, spoiler-free explanations for those who haven't played either game. Not as memorable as, say, one of the main characters in Final Fantasy VII. Those who have played the game will know which one I'm talking about when I say that. Or Dragon Quest XI. Again, those who have played the game will know which one I'm talking about when I bring that up. Not going to specify which one for spoiler purposes, and those who may be watching this video that haven't played either of those games yet. Of course, for Final Fantasy VII, whether you've played the game or not, you probably already heard about the fate of that specific party member and all that, because it has gone on to be one of the more remembered video, not just Final Fantasy, but one of the more remembered video game cutscene sequences of all time, period. So, yeah, you've probably already heard about that regardless. So. But even so, I mean, I can, well, I won't mention them by name, but I know a few people right offhand who've never played the game but yet know about that sequence because of all the coverage it gets on YouTube videos and whatnot. So, yeah. But anyways, just not quite as memorable. Of course, in Dragon Quest XI, they ruined that scene by finding a way to bring that character back later in the game anyways. Okay, I might level that one up at some point in the game. That one, I mean, it was kind of useful in both Final Fantasy 3 and 4 before this one, but only in specific battles. Overall, not so much so. Don't care about that one. That one could be useful for certain potions and whatnot that you can make with that, but I usually don't bother with it, but at least not until late game. Uh-oh. What is this, Metroid? Escape sequences? At least this time it's on auto control. Yep, we're holding on. Let's go. Yeah, just in time. Okay. Okay, we get the idea that the power of the crystal is what was keeping that place afloat. So it stands to reason that it falls to the ground now that the crystal is gone. But how did it? What caused it to explode entirely? Again, video game logic. Don't try to figure it out. Like I keep saying, you only end up with a migraine headache and more questions than you had before you started. It works because video games. That's all you need to know. Of course, so very convenient. He happens to regain his full memory just as Exdeath returns. How convenient. Hmm. Oh, yeah? Of course, we heard tidbits of this story earlier, like on the fire ship as well. The fire level, whatever they call it in whatever version of the game you're playing. Yeah. When Galuf briefly recovers some of his memory. Yeah. I think it was then. Well, you didn't. People in those towns did, yeah. You had nothing to do with that, Bartz. Yeah. Wasn't it? Never mind. Maybe it was later in the game, but somebody somewhere in this game made the comment something to the effect of something that's sealed is destined to escape or be let. Yeah. Something that I always think of when I'm playing Zelda games all the time. Ganon or Ganondorf is just sealed away and not just killed. All the trouble Hyrule could have been spared if they just butchered Ganondorf instead of sealing him away in the Dark World, or just kill the son of a. But no, we'll seal him away. Uh huh. Dude, don't you ever learn? You're just gonna seal him away again. Fine. Why not? Huh. Well, how bad can where you're from be? I mean, so we'll just live there for the rest of our lives then. I mean, I don't think you're thinking this thing through. I mean, yeah, you're thinking about our safety and our well-being, and so salutations for that, yes. But on the other hand, I don't think you're seeing the whole picture here, Gallup. It took, well, actually, never mind, spoiler potential, but yeah, you didn't exactly seal Exdeath on your own. You had help. What makes you think you're not going to need help this time? Don't you think we should come with? Guess not. Okay, that's all right. Yeah, okay. And that's where I end this video. Pick it up next time from here. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.